Imagine you are standing on the surface of the moon. It is the most hostile, unforgiving landscape humans have ever tried to conquer. Above you, there is no blue sky, only an endless, crushing black void. The silence is absolute. But the real danger isn't what you can see, it's what you can't. Without an atmosphere to protect you, cosmic radiation is shredding your DNA every second you stand there. If the sun is up, the temperature is boiling your suit. If the sun is down, it is cold enough to shatter steel. And at any moment, a micrometeorite the size of a grain of sand could strike with the force of a bullet. For decades, science fiction promised us glass domes and sprawling surface cities. But the brutal reality of lunar physics tells a different story. If we try to build on the surface, we will fail. The radiation shielding alone would require walls of lead and concrete meters thick. The maintenance would be a nightmare. The risk of catastrophic failure would never go away. But what if the moon had already built the perfect shelter for us? What if, billions of years ago, nature carved out a solution and hid it beneath the gray dust, waiting for us to find it? This is not a theory. This is a discovery that has quietly shifted the entire strategy of space agencies around the world. NASA, along with international partners, has identified entrances, literal skylights leading down into massive voids beneath the lunar crust. These are not small caves. They are gigantic lava tubes, volcanic tunnels, so enormous that they could house entire skyscrapers, perhaps even entire cities, without ever touching the ceiling. And inside these tubes, the rules of the moon change. The temperature stabilizes. The radiation stops. The micrometeorites cannot reach you. It is a ready-made world waiting for tenants. This is the story of how we found these underground cathedrals, what it will take to colonize them, and why the first true human civilization off Earth will not be built under the stars, but inside the rock. To understand the scale of this opportunity, we have to look back at the moon's violent past. Today, the moon is geologically dead, a frozen fossil, but billions of years ago it was a hellscape of fire. Rivers of molten lava, far hotter and more fluid than anything on Earth, flowed across the surface like water. As these rivers of fire rushed downhill, the top layer exposed to the vacuum of space cooled and hardened, forming a thick crust of rock. But underneath that crust, the lava kept flowing, insulated and hot. When the eruption finally stopped and the lava drained away, it left behind a hollow tube, a tunnel. On Earth, we have lava tubes in places like Hawaii and Iceland, but they are relatively small because Earth's high gravity causes them to collapse. On the moon, where gravity is 1/6 as strong, these structures can grow to gargantuan proportions and remain stable for billions of years. We are talking about tunnels that could be kilometers wide and hundreds of kilometers long. Imagine a subway tunnel, but expand it until you can fit the Eiffel Tower inside it sideways. That is the scale we are dealing with. And for a long time, we didn't know they were there. We suspected it, but we couldn't see them. The breakthrough came when modern orbiters like NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter began scanning the moon with high-resolution cameras. They started spotting anomalies, strange, deep, black holes that didn't look like impact craters. Craters are bowl-shaped. The light hits the bottom. These holes were different. They were pits with vertical walls that dropped straight down into shadow. They were skylight sections of a lava tube roof that had collapsed, opening a door to the underworld. When scientists analyzed the data from the Grail mission, which mapped the moon's gravity field, the evidence became undeniable. The gravity map showed mass deficits, linear streaks, where the moon was lighter than it should be. These weren't just holes, they were empty highways running beneath the surface. The implications of this discovery are staggering. It means that the moon is not a solid rock. It is a Swiss cheese of potential habitats. And this changes the economic equation of colonization entirely. If you build on the surface, you have to bring your own protection. You have to lift thousands of tons of shielding materials from Earth, which is prohibitively expensive. But if you build inside a lava tube, the moon provides the shielding for free. You are sitting under tens of meters of solid basalt. That rock blocks the cosmic rays. It blocks the solar storms. It creates a thermal envelope where the temperature hovers around a constant, manageable -20 degrees Celsius, instead of swinging wildly between boiling and freezing. So, how do we turn a dark volcanic tunnel into a city? The blueprint is already being drawn up. It doesn't start with astronauts. It starts with robots. The first mission to a lava tube won't be a colonization fleet. It will be a scout. We need to lower autonomous drones, perhaps flying drones using thrusters or climbing robots using tethers down through the skylight to map the interior. We need to know if the floor is flat or covered in rubble. We need to check the structural integrity of the ceiling. Once a suitable tube is certified, the construction begins. But we won't be building houses like we do on Earth. We will use inflatable modules. Imagine landing a spacecraft next to a skylight. It deploys a crane and lowers a folded, compact package down into the darkness. Once it reaches the tunnel floor, the package inflates, expanding into a massive, pressurized habitat. Because the tunnel protects it from radiation and micrometeorites, the habitat walls don't need to be armored. They just need to hold air pressure. We could link these inflatable modules together, creating a chain of living spaces, laboratories, and farms running down the length of the tunnel. We could seal off sections of the tunnel itself, pressurizing the cave directly to create vast open-air parks underground. But survival requires more than just shelter. It requires resources. And this is where the location of these tubes becomes critical. The most valuable real estate on the moon is near the poles, where deep craters hide frozen water ice. If we can find lava tubes near these polar regions, we hit the jackpot. We could mine the ice on the surface, drop it down into the tunnel, melt it, and recycle it. Water gives us oxygen to breathe, water to drink, and hydrogen for rocket fuel. A base inside a lava tube, powered by nuclear reactors or solar arrays on the surface, becomes a self-sustaining organism. It becomes a city. There is a psychological aspect to this as well. Living on the surface of the moon, looking at the Earth hanging in the sky, is beautiful but terrifying. It is a constant reminder of your vulnerability. Underground, there is a sense of solidity, a sense of permanence. Human beings have lived in caves for tens of thousands of years. It is in our DNA. We are cave dwellers who reached for the stars. And now, to stay among the stars, we might have to become cave dwellers again. Inside these tubes, we can simulate an Earth-like environment. We can use full-spectrum lighting to mimic the 24-hour day cycle, protecting colonists from the madness of the 14-day lunar night. We can grow plants in hydroponic gardens that stretch for miles, turning the gray volcanic rock into a green oasis. However, we must also talk about the mystery, because these tunnels have been sealed for billions of years. They are pristine time capsules. The surface of the moon is constantly bombarded by solar wind and micrometeorites, which churns up the soil and destroys geological history. But inside a lava tube, nothing has changed since the dinosaurs walked the Earth, since life began in the oceans, perhaps since the moon itself cooled. The dust layers inside these tunnels could hold a perfect record of the sun's activity over Earth. They could hold trapped volatiles, chemicals from the early solar system that have long since evaporated from the surface. Exploring these tubes is not just about finding a home. It's about reading the lost history of our corner of the universe. And then there is the uncomfortable question, are we the first to think of this? If lava tubes are the best place to hide, the best place to survive, and the best place to observe without being seen, then logic dictates they are the strategic high ground. If any advanced intelligence passed through our solar system a million years ago and wanted to leave a probe, a monitor, or a cache, they wouldn't leave it on the surface where it would be eroded and blasted. They would put it inside a lava tube. This is not to say there are alien cities down there, but rather that these voids are the most scientifically likely places to find anomalies if they exist. They are the blind spots in our surveillance of the moon. The race to claim these tubes is already quietly underway. Nations are not just landing rovers randomly anymore. They are targeting specific geological features. The Artemis Accords and the plans for the International Lunar Research Station are all maneuvering for position near resources. A lava tube is a resource. A massive ready-made radiation-shielded hangar is worth billions of dollars in infrastructure costs. Whoever secures the first viable tube secures the logistical hub for the next century of lunar expansion. Think about the future this enables. We aren't talking about a cramped outpost with 3 astronauts eating freeze-dried ice cream. We are talking about industrial zones, fabrication plants, data centers, server farms that run cold in the lunar underground, backing up the sum of human knowledge off-planet. We are talking about a spaceport where ships can be built and serviced in low gravity before launching to Mars. The moon becomes the gateway, and the lava tubes are the departure lounge. This is the blueprint. It turns the moon from a destination into a stepping stone. It solves the fragility problem. Surface bases are fragile. Underground cities are robust. If a solar flare hits, a surface base is in crisis mode. An underground city doesn't even blink. If we are serious about becoming a multiplanetary species, we have to stop thinking like tourists and start thinking like settlers. Settlers use the land. They use the geology. They adapt to the environment instead of trying to fight it. So, the next time you look up at the moon and see that bright, silent face, remember that the real story isn't on the surface. The real story is deep beneath the crust, in the eternal dark of ancient tunnels waiting for light. We have found the door. We have the technology to open it. The only question left is, are we ready to step into the dark to build our future? Because once we move in, humanity changes forever. We stop being a planet-bound species and become something else. Something older, something new. The people of the tubes. The lunar civilization. And it all starts with a shadow in a crater and a robot descending into the unknown.